afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline the 3rd of February 2024. This week's headlines. Waseem Khan told Muslims at the Islam Bradford Centre that Allah is clearly with Hamas. Clapham attack suspect Abdul Ezedi converted to Christianity to get asylum in the UK. The UNRWA goes rogue supporting Hamas. Robert Corfield, who abused a boy in Canada in a secretive Christian church in the 1980s, has spoken publicly. A Muslim cultural enricher in Germany blocks a motorway to pray to Allah. A gay Tory MP stands down over safety fears. A sexualized Jesus image causes outrage in Spain. And the deconversion of tens of millions, the age of the nuns, NONES. In his sermon yesterday, Waseem Khan told Muslims at the Islam Bradford Centre that Allah is clearly with Hamas. The centre is a registered charity. See this video.
Hamas and all these signs are there. And they haven't done anything wrong. Their land has been usurped for 75 years and they are showing resistance. And what kind of resistance is this? Subhanallah. We had the 1967 Six-Day War, when 6 Arab armies with their tanks and gunships and warships, they went together, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and they attacked Israel from all corners. They were finished in 6 days. Armies were finished in 6 days. And yet you see, subhanallah, the nusra from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Israel is thinking, what have we got ourselves stuck into? They have no weapons, they have no supplies, they have no army, they have no naval or air force, but we are still stuck. This is because this is the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you fight for nationalism, you are finished in 6 days. When you fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your rights, then you see what you're seeing right now. You are seeing what you're seeing right now.
Police are looking for Abdul Ezedi, 35, who was last seen in North London on Wednesday evening. A mother and her 3-year-old daughter, hurt by the corrosive substance attack, could have suffered life-changing injuries. Police have warned people not to approach Ezedi and instead to call 999. The 31-year-old woman and her daughters remain in hospital, along with her older daughter, aged 8. 5 police officers were injured as they responded, as were 4 members of the public who tried to help. The attack took place near Clapham Common at about 19:25 on Wednesday. The suspect attempted to escape the scene in a car, but crashed into a stationary vehicle, then ran. Ezedi had been convicted of sexual assault exposure in 2018 before being granted asylum in 2021 or 22. The BBC understands that Ezedi arrived in the UK by lorry in 2016, having travelled from Afghanistan. His suspended prison sentence for the sexual offence, passed down at Newcastle Crown Court, included an unpaid work order, and once that was complete in 2020, Ezedi was discharged from probation supervision. His asylum application was twice turned down, but granted on the 3rd occasion when he claimed to have converted to Christianity and said that being returned to Afghanistan was therefore a risk. The United Nations Work and Relief Agency went rogue, supporting Hamas. Here is a horrifying video of the UN's white pickup when they drove a body through the streets so that Palestinians could beat it. Robert Corfield, a man who abused a boy in Canada in a secretive Christian church in the 1980s, has spoken publicly about what happened for the first time. He was confronted by the BBC as part of a wider look into claims of child sex abuse spanning decades within the church, known as The Truth. His name is one of more than 700 given by people to a hotline set up to report sexual abuse within that church. The sect says it addresses all abuse allegations. The church, which has no official name but is often referred to as the Truth or the Way, is believed to have up to 100,000 members worldwide, with the majority of them in North America. The potential scale of the abuse has been captured through a hotline set up last year by two women who say they were also sexually abused by a church leader when they were children. People have phoned in claiming they too were abused, with testimonies stretching back decades through to the present day. The highly secretive and insular nature of the church helped abuse to thrive, said former and current insiders who spoke to the BBC. It had many unwritten rules, including that followers must marry within the group and keep mixing with outsiders to a minimum. The church was founded in Ireland by a Scottish evangelist in 1897 and is built around ministers spreading New Testament teachings through word of mouth. One of its hallmarks is that ministers give up their possessions and must be taken in by church members as they travel around, spreading the gospel. This makes children living in the homes they visit vulnerable to abuse, the insiders said. Former church member Michael Havett, 54, told the BBC he was abused by Robert Corfield in the 1980s from the age of 12. People called me Bob's little companion. I just felt dirty and still do, says Mr. Havett, speaking from his home in Ottawa. After abusing him, Mr. Havett said Mr. Corfield would force him to kneel beside him and pray. I had to work hard to get past that and find my prayer life again, he says. When confronted about the child abuse allegations by the BBC, Mr. Corfield admitted that they had taken place for about 6 years in the 1980s. I have acknowledged that's true, he said. Mr. Corfield was a minister, known within the sect as a worker, in Saskatchewan, Canada, at the time of the abuse. This is the first time he has publicly admitted to child abuse, though he has previously been confronted by church members and wrote 2 private letters to Mr. Havett in 2004 and 2005, which asked for forgiveness and said he was seeing a therapist. In one letter, Mr. Corfield said he was making a list of victims. We don't want to miss anyone who has been a victim of my actions, he wrote. However, when asked about this by the BBC, Mr. Corfield said that there were no other victims, in the same sense that Michael was, and that he had given 2 or 3 other teenagers massages. Don't disturb me, I want to pray to Allah, a Muslim cultural enricher in Germany said, blocking the motorway to do his prayers. See this video.
Deutschland, kurwa. Benzin to jest, kurwa, droga benzyn.
Mike Freer MP is a first-class politician and public servant. according to a former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. That he has been hounded out of office by Islamists is a serious indictment of where we are as a society. In a letter to the chairman of Finchley and Golders Green Conservatives, Mike Freer MP says, "I've decided not to seek nomination as the Conservative Party candidate at the next general election. I have sadly had several serious threats to my personal safety. The attacks by Muslims against Crusades, Ali Harbi Ali, and the recent arson attack have weighed heavily on me and my husband, Angelo. These serious incidents are alongside many low-level incidents. No MP can operate effectively without the support of their spouse and wider family. Sadly, the serious incidents place intolerable stress on them too. It will be an enormous wrench to step down. It has been the privilege of my life to serve the wonderfully diverse and vibrant area that is Finchley and Golders Green." There's been a backlash from some conservative Catholics in Spain this week who object to an image of Jesus on a poster used to promote Holy Week in Seville. The image has been described as homoerotic, effeminate, camp, and sexualized. Religious imagery is widespread in Western popular culture, from music videos to fashion and TV shows and advertising. While the use of religious characters such as Eve and Moses often goes unnoticed, adverts that use the image of Jesus frequently cause an outcry. The depiction of the crucifixion, his semi-nude, broken body on a cross, adorns churches and jewellery worldwide, so much so that we have become almost desensitized to the violence depicted in this type of image. These images are often in children's classrooms if they attend faith schools. Those in Spain who have objected to Jesus being portrayed as effeminate, camp, or sexualized seem to imply that there's something wrong or deviant about such portrayals. More globally, this speaks back to the legacy of homophobia in certain conservative Christian settings and the use of the Bible in this. The debate continues, even with inclusive advancements from Pope Francis in relation to the blessing of same-sex unions. On January the 24th, Pew Research did a deep dive into their latest Religious Landscape Survey data and have just published their latest statistics. The survey happened in July and August in 2023, and it involved roughly 12,000 participants that took part in their ongoing American Trends panel. That tends to cover a wide range of topics, and so this release of their analysis focuses on nuns. Today, about 28% of US adults are religiously unaffiliated, describing themselves as atheists, agnostics, or nothing in particular when asked about their religion. The data shows most nuns believe in God or another higher power, but very few go to religious services regularly. Most say religion does some harm, but many also think it does some good. They are not uniformly anti-religious. And most nuns reject the idea that science can explain everything, but they do express more positive views of science than religiously affiliated Americans do. Shortly on this channel, you can watch Tercia and I chat with guest Sanal Edamaraku, who is a guru and miracle-debunking Indian atheist now based in Finland, where he organizes rationalist cruises of the Baltic. Come and join in by text. And don't forget to watch Views on the News, the show where our opinionated panel give their views on the items I've just reported on. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.